Hey guys, on today's show, the one and only Cash Patel is about to prove to all the naysayers out there that the big lie of the 2020 election, that there was election fraud and that was the big lie. Well, guess what? That's the big lie. So stick around for that today on the Angela Box Show.
Hello, my name is Angela Box.
So you're talking my name.
Y'all, I don't want to hear any of y'all's bullshit. Any of y'all's bullshit about Cash Patel. None of it. I don't want to hear that he hasn't done this and he hasn't done that and there have been no arrests and what's going on. Let me tell you something about Cash Patel. Cash Patel does not strike me as the type of person who would say everything he is saying and has said about a multitude of issues with the IQ that he has, with the access that he has, with the background that he has. He would not be saying all of those things about the 2020 election and other matters if he did not have that shit locked down. Okay? Cash Patel, the other day, he let it be known. Hey, Ruby Freeman and her daughter and the other dude that likes to stuff suitcases full of ballots into Fulton County election machines at 2 a.m. after you sent everybody home at 10:30 because there was a water main leak. Yeah, remember that? Remember that lady? Trish, roll that video.
8 o'clock in the morning, and we're going to roll this back and show it to you. There you go. So now they're going to start pulling these ballots out from under this table. This table, the black one, was placed there by the lady with the blonde braids at about 8:22 a.m. in the morning. So she put that table there. So the same person who's staying behind now, the same person who cleared the place out under the pretense that we're going to stop counting, is the person who put the table there at 8:22 in the morning. Yeah, I saw 4 suitcases come out from underneath the table. Yeah, upper right hand, you see the gentleman in the red. So he just pulled one out.
This heifer's going to jail, okay? And I wonder if the arrests that might be coming with the 2020 election might have something to do with the state of Georgia and the complicit in criminals known as Brad Raffensperger and Brian Kemp and all the Fulton County election workers. I wonder if that could have something to do with it. Now, that's just one. But lest you think that Georgia is like the only game in town. No, my friends. No, my friends. Let me see if I can list all of these, the names of the swing states of the 2020 election. And I'm just going to give you like a little bit of a recitation of just the things I remember off the top of my head. Like I do not have any notes in front of me. Okay. So here are the things that are getting ready to be proven that we were right about all along. But here are the states: Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Arizona, and Nevada. I think that's all of them. I might be missing one, but it's 6 or 7 swing states. Anyway, the point is, here's some of the various things that I remember just off the top of my head with no notes in front of me whatsoever to what happened on that night and then the subsequent days and weeks, and why all y'all, shit talking Cash Patel, thinking that he's just gonna like forget about all that, forget that he, was one of the people that was uncovering all the fraud that was going on, and he was extremely vocal on social media about the fraud that was going on. If you think that guy who's not going fast enough for you, I guess he's not going on your speed and your pace. He's just, what he's doing? He's sitting around, making out with his Indian girlfriend who likes to sing country music and like getting wasted. Like that's what Cash Patel's doing. Like save it. So anyway, before I give you the recitation of the things I remember, I want to show you what Cash actually said, because he basically let it be known that arrests are coming. Roll that clip.
I lived through it, and the media came at me then too. That just shows you that when you're over the target, you keep pummeling the target because the media is going to try and pummel you. We are not going to take this and have not taken this laying down. We did already indict former Director Comey, and that's going through the judicial process. But we also, at this FBI, even though we uncovered what we uncovered back in the House Intel days, I had to come in here and find rooms that they hid from the world. I had to come in here and find access on our computer systems in restricted and prohibited case files that they purposely put in places for no one to see and find. We have found all this information. We are working with our Department of Justice partners, and I am never going to let this go because they not only have personally attacked the presidency of the United States and President Trump, but they tried to thwart our elections and rig the entire system. And that is not something that is going to stop. That is not something I'm going to allow on my watch. But you just have to remember, they built this disease temple over 20 and 30 years. We've got all the evidence. I can announce on your show that we've got all the information we need. We're working with our prosecutors at the Department of Justice and their Attorney General Todd Blanche, and we are going to be making arrests. And it's coming, and I promise you, it's coming soon.
Well, Cash, hold on, because when you started this interview, you said, Maria, you and I have been working together for a long time, and this is exactly what you were referring to. You were on my show repeatedly talking about the Russia collusion story, and our audience wants to know why there's never any accountability. But specifically, the question that I asked you was about election integrity and whether or not you have any information to verify what President Trump says all the time, which is the election was rigged.
All ye of little faith. So here's just in no order, just what I remember about that night and those subsequent days. Because here's all the things. Here are all the things. No, I should not say all. I'm gonna again the things I remember. Here are the things that I remember just off the top of my head that everybody on social media, in the news, in the Democratic Party, et cetera, all working together, all putting together this idea of the big lie. Every single thing that they did, we have been right about. And here are the ones that I remember. I remember being 10:30 at night, and they shut everything down. Just shut all the swing states down. And they gave different excuses for each one. They were like, oh my God, Georgia, you guys, oh my God, there's a water main leak. Like, we have to get rid of everybody. Everyone needs to go home and disperse until we get it fixed. Like, it might be another 12 hours. I don't know. But don't worry. Like, it's all going to be kosher, and there's not going to be anybody here counting any ballots. And then literally, we have a video of a woman named Ruby Freeman and her daughter and some other Fulton County election schmuck pulling out suitcases of ballots at 1:30 in the morning when everybody had gone home. And none of y'all in the media have any questions about that? Oh, that's it. That's the big lie, isn't it? And then, of course, we've got people who are from Latin American countries. Specifically, I'm thinking of Venezuela. Who the minute they shut everything down and they started getting that vote tally up for Joe Biden, dropping those ballots in, flipping those algorithms, whatever they were doing. And y'all, listen, here's the deal. They didn't all know about each other, okay? They're working in tandem in different lanes, and nobody knows what the other person is doing, but they're all doing something. And then we've got, of course, in Pennsylvania, when they put up pizza boxes on the windows and kicked out Republican election poll workers. Does anybody want to talk about that, or was that the big lie too? And then we've got in the middle of the night, I believe in one or two locations, I believe in Detroit and definitely Detroit. There were someone in Pennsylvania, Philly and Detroit, if I'm remembering correctly. There was a video of two big white vans pulling into the back of the vote counting center and unloading something off of their out of their vans. Like, it was almost like there was a shot, a brief shot, but it was almost like we could see boxes and boxes of what looked like paper ballots. But yet, the people that were driving the van were like, oh my God, those right-wing crazy people. We were just dropping off pizzas. That happened too. Then we got the video of Dinesh D'Souza, the video of 2,000 Mules, where we have all these dumbasses, all these Democrat paid, agitating, Antifa, borderline retarded Democrats who were hired to take these tranches of ballots and then go harvest them.
The 2020 election was the most secure in U.S. history.
There has been no evidence of widespread voter fraud.
He lost a fair and secure election.
The most secure
election in American history. Secondly, we're in a situation where we have put together, and you guys did it for our administration, the President Obama's administration before this. We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
Really?
And it's all on tape. It's all on tape. And Truth to Vote, I want to thank those incredible women for the job. Catherine and all of them for the job they've done. It's incredible. But that'll be released very soon. Everything is on tape.
This one mule made 53 trips to 20 drop boxes.
Even the pictures are taken of the people stuffing the ballot boxes.
We tracked 2,000 mules making multiple ballot drops. Leaving no fingerprints.
Because without the pictures, they don't get paid.
Snapping photos to get paid.
Talking about hundreds of thousands of votes in each swing state.
All the key states where the election was decided.
They've delivered us a clear victory.
But the swing states was the focus.
Game over.
It's all on tape. It's all on tape. And my fellow Americans, the best is yet to come. Thank you. God bless you. And God bless America. Thank you very much.
And then you've got the scam with the nursing homes and how the Democrats would basically walk in to a nursing home and tell the old people who to vote for. And then, of course, we've got all the dead voters and the illegal alien voters that have social security numbers that we know about. I mean, everything, you guys, everything. I mean, remember the story of the mailman in New York. He was a mailman, and he was one of the people that went to Sidney Powell.
And it's through eyewitness testimony that's been corroborated by others through their eyewitness statements that 130,000 to 280,000 completed ballots for the 2020 general election were shipped from Bethpage, New York, to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where those ballots and the trailer in which they were shipped disappeared.
What happened on October 21st was a series of unusual events that cannot be a coincidence. I know I saw ballots with return addresses filled out, thousands of them, thousands, loaded onto my trailer in New York and headed for Pennsylvania. At first, I didn't think it was a big deal. In fact, I thought it was really awesome. I really did. I was like, sweet, I'm doing something for the presidential race, you know, this is cool. But as things became weirder, I got to thinking and wondered why I was driving complete ballots from New York to Pennsylvania. I didn't know why, so I decided to speak up. And that's what I'm doing today.
It could be 144 to over to 250,000 ballots. Let me tell you a little secret. Part of our developing investigation indicates that Jesse wasn't alone. There was a number, as in like a bunch of different trucks, which engaged in this. So when you think about the magnitude of potential votes showing up the night of the election after midnight, you have to have an artifact. So if you eliminate the impossible, with all things being equal, whatever remains must be the truth. The truth is, ballots showed up. They were counted. They do not match necessarily the records of who should have voted. In some instances, the stats don't add up. And we continue to analyze that. But with that said, I believe, beyond a shadow of a doubt, we have evidence of a massive transfer of completed, curated ballots ready to be injected into counting centers.
Sidney Powell, who has been disparaged and discarded, and people are like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed with Sidney Powell. And Sidney Powell from day effing one has been on this. Same with Rudy Giuliani, who they disbarred in the state of New York. He's been on it from day one. And let me tell you something, you don't disparage, you don't call people nutcases and the entire media collective come down on them to cancel them like Rudy and like Sidney Powell if there's not some receipts. Okay. Sidney Powell famously said once that she was getting enough information. It was like drinking through a fire hose. Okay. Let's see. What else do I remember? I remember the Cyber Symposium, Mike Lindell's Cyber Symposium.
They're very brave. I'm telling you, all three of you.
When they laid out, like they had a lot of amazing guests who I've actually had on the show before. Colonel Phil Waldron, that's what I'm thinking of. And okay, I remember specifically Colonel Phil Waldron and Seth Keshel and their presentations that they made. And Colonel Waldron's presentation was basically, it was about, I remember seeing this, the foreign countries using the Voldemort machines. I'm not going to say Voldemort machines because they still like to sue people for $1 billion. So they're the Voldemort machines. The Voldemort machines were getting info back and forth from different countries. And they were able to show with the cyber knowledge that they had that, there were votes going from the United States to Iran, flipping it from Trump to Biden and sending it back. And they had proof. They had literal data proof of people who have been in the cyber business, the guy who invented the QR code, like the smartest people you ever seen. Okay. And they are all saying, here's how they did it. Here's how they did it. And then Seth Keshel gets up there. And again, these are all, again, Army military intelligence, former CIA, former FBI, just brilliant people. Seth Keshel gets up there and he has this whole presentation and this is Seth Keshel's gospel, okay? Because he has taken this PowerPoint all around the country. And if you get a chance to see Seth Keshel and the 18 points of how we know this election was rigged, like do yourself a favor and go, or just YouTube it. It's fascinating. Anyway, his whole point is that there are 18 benchmarks. It's either 18 or 19. I can't think of it, but bellwethers that have to be that are met. And when these certain things occur, like the candidate wins Ohio, the candidate wins like there was all like 9 or 10 little checklists that if a candidate meets and makes, then he's going to be president. Okay. And he said that the only time, I'm thinking of the keys. See, that's another story. But he goes through all this data and he's like, there is no explanation. Seth's point was that there was no way that Trump, who won 18 out of 19 bellwether counties, would not be president. He said it's not possible, and he went all the way back, like I can't remember how many years, but at least 60 or 70 years where it shows that that is true. And he's like, it's not possible. And then when you count up all the shutting everything down, and then the next, because they're real sleepy, and as I said, they all had different excuses. And then the next day they start counting the ballots again, and they're like, look, well, they're all, and of course they're all wearing COVID masks, and they're all fat, and they're all extremely unattractive, because you know why? Because they kicked all the Republican poll workers out, so they were left with the dump trucks known as the Democrat woman or the liberal white woman, which is the bane of my existence. So anyway, they come back the next day, and they're like, oh my God, you guys, the weirdest thing just happened. We just got this tranche of ballots, and we put them in the machine, and 98% of them came out for Joe Biden. Isn't that the craziest thing? So look what just happened, you guys. Don't worry, Democrats. It was just a red mirage. It was just a red mirage is what they all told us. Because don't worry, Joe Biden caught up. See, Trump was ahead in all those swing states, every last one of them. Some by hundreds of thousands of votes. He was ahead, and he was going to win, and it was going to be an early night. And that's when they shut everything down, and that's when they start putting those mail-in ballots in, and that's when the big steal began. But they were laying the groundwork for it, not just for election season. I mean, not just it wasn't November is what I'm saying. Oh, this thing's been in the works for a minute, all right? Now let's connect some dots between Jeffrey Epstein and Bill Gates. He's going to go to Epstein, and he's going to be like, listen, I have this great idea. Let's create a pandemic.
There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there telling me I got to beware.
Let's create a pandemic. Let's make it so people will be so afraid that they will do everything that they're told. It's not only going to be a way to get rid of Donald Trump, because we're going to use all of the measures that we can to say, well, I mean, people can't stand in line to vote. I mean, COVID, are you trying to kill grandma? The reason they did the COVID, the reason that Epstein and Bill Gates were like, let's try this thing. And the three reasons they did it, and of course it wasn't just them, it was the deep state collective that the left keeps telling us doesn't exist. That's a figment of our imagination. But let's just pretend they all got together and they're like, we have this great idea for the world. We have a 16-year plan where everything is going to be, 15-minute cities, walking distance. Everything's going to be shoved into apartments. People are going to get universal income, but it's not going to be shit because they want to keep them under control. All the things that they were going to do to us, make us get vaccinated when they tell us to get vaccinated, make us do what we're told at all times. I mean, obviously, that in addition to getting rid of Trump was the number one reason. And then of course, you got your old saw of depopulation. Obviously they wanted to do that too. But I know this video was going long, but I actually am glad that I'm kind of memorializing this, because I'm telling you right now, I have been on this like white on rice from day one. And guess what? So has Cash Patel. Okay. It would be like saying that he did so much to expose, uncover everything that happened on November 3rd, 2020. And y'all want to tell me right now that he's not going to follow up on that shit? I'll tell you what. Why don't you put money and bet against Trump too? Okay? Because we're hearing the same argument about Trump. But guess what, y'all? These people, they are not here to play. These people are not effing around. The indictments will drop at the perfect moment for the midterms, ladies and gentlemen. And then we're going to get to open the books and see what actually happened in the 2020 election. And guess what? The media collusion with the Democrats, with the globalists and the deep states, and they're all in this just disgusting cabal together. And they all made up this term called the big lie. And if you question the election, that was the big lie. And then, of course, there's January 6th. And there just so happened to be 250 undercover FBI agents there, and all the shenanigans that happened after that. And then we got rid of Donald Trump. So, you know, the coup was completed on January 6th. And ladies and gentlemen, that is what Trump is going to get to the bottom of. That is what Kash Patel is going to get to the bottom of. That is what everyone on Team Trump is getting to the bottom of. So be patient, because good things sometimes take a long damn time. But I do think it's coming. All right, guys, let me know what you think of this video. Comment down below. What are your memories of election night 2020? Like, when did you realize that we were cooked? Leave it in the comments below. Until next time, everybody, keep kicking ass, taking names, like, subscribe, comment, do all the things. And always remember to let God will be done. Peace.